My new wife's 7-year-old daughter always cried when we were alone. What's wrong? I'd ask, but she'd just shake her head. My wife would laugh. She just doesn't like you. One day while she was on a business trip, she pulled something from her backpack. Daddy, look at this. The moment I saw it, I dialed 911, trembling hands. My revenge was justified. When the 7-year-old whispered, Daddy, look at this, I knew something was wrong in our Chicago apartment before. I even opened the backpack. My hands were already shaking. I was standing in the kitchen with the coffee gone cold, and Mia was in the hallway in her little pink socks, looking at me like she had been carrying a secret too heavy for her small shoulders. My wife Lauren was in Houston on a business trip. That was the only reason Mia had finally come to me on her own. For months, she had cried whenever we were alone. Not loud crying, just quiet tears, the kind that make a child look older than she should. Every time I asked what was wrong, she would shake her head, press her lips together, and hide behind Lauren's laugh when she came home. She just doesn't like you, Lauren would say, smiling like it was funny. I used to laugh with her, trying to make peace in the house. I mean, I wanted to be a good stepfather. I really did. I took Mia to Target for school supplies. I bought her pancakes from the diner on Broadway because she liked the strawberries on top. I fixed the broken shelf in her room and carried her backpack when it got too heavy. But every time Lauren was around, that little girl shrank into herself. That afternoon, Mia stood at the edge of the kitchen and held out a tiny blue backpack with both hands. Her fingers were white around the straps. She wouldn't look at my face. What is it, sweetheart? I asked. Her lower lip trembled. Then she swallowed hard and whispered, Mom said if I told you, you'd leave. That hit me like a door slamming in a small room. My chest tightened so fast I had to set my mug down. I crouched beside her, slow, careful, like I was trying not to scare a stray cat. Mia, you can tell me anything. She nodded once, but it looked like it hurt her to do it. Then she unzipped the backpack and pulled out a cheap little tablet I had never seen before, plus a folded stack of papers wrapped in a rubber band. Her hands were trembling so badly the papers almost slipped. I took one look at the screen on the tablet and felt the blood drain out of my face. It was a video. I hit play. Lauren's voice came through first, sharp and flat like I'd never heard it before. Stop crying. You embarrass me every time you do this. If Ethan asks, say you were just tired. My mouth went dry. Mia made a tiny sound beside me and buried her face in her sleeve. I could barely breathe. My fingers started going numb as I listened. Another clip. Another one. Lauren in the bathroom. Lauren in the car. Lauren saying, he doesn't need to know everything. Lauren telling somebody on the phone, once I get the custody paperwork ready, he won't have a choice. I just stared at the screen. I couldn't even blink right. My mind kept trying to reject what my ears were hearing. No, that can't be her. No, that isn't my wife. No, not in my house. Not to that child. Then I saw the papers. The top sheet was a printed text thread. Lauren and someone saved as D. The messages were ugly. Plans, dates, money, one. Line made my stomach go tight in a way. I still feel when I think about it. Keep the kid quiet until after the trip. Then we move fast. My voice cracked when I asked, who is D? Mia looked at me for the first time. Her eyes were red and terrified. Mom said he's the reason I have to be good. I felt my legs go weak. I had to grab the back of a chair to stay standing. In that moment, I wasn't thinking about revenge yet. I was thinking about that child sitting in a room and crying, alone while I told myself it was normal. I was thinking about every time. Lauren laughed and I let it pass because I didn't want to start a fight. I was thinking, God, how long has this been happening? Mia pointed at the last paper with a shaking finger. She told me to hide it in my backpack if she left. That was the final piece, the final slap of truth. I realized the tablet wasn't a toy. It was a recording device, a trap, evidence. Lauren had been using our home like a stage, and her daughter had been the one cleaning up the mess. My hands were trembling, so hard I almost dropped the phone. When I dialed 911, I stepped into the pantry because I didn't want Mia to hear me fall apart. My voice came out rough and broken. Yes, ma'am, I need police and a child welfare check at my apartment in Chicago. There's a 7-year-old child. I think she's been emotionally abused, and I have recordings. The dispatcher kept asking questions. I kept answering them through a fog of anger and disbelief. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I remember staring at a box of cereal while I talked, thinking how absurd it was that the ugliest moment of my life was happening next to a shelf of Captain Crunch. When I came back out, Mia was sitting on the floor with her knees pulled up to her chest. She looked so small, so scared. I sat down beside her slowly, and she leaned into my side like she had been waiting her whole life for somebody. Not to move away. The police arrived 12 minutes later. Those 12 minutes felt like an hour made of glass. Mia kept asking in this tiny voice, am I in trouble? And each time she said it, something in me cracked a little more. No, baby, I told her. You did the right thing. When the officers listened to the recordings, one of them looked at me and gave the smallest nod. That nod said everything I needed to know. They called Lauren. They pulled records. They found a folder in the bedroom drawer with custody drafts, bank transfers, and messages that made my face burn. Lauren hadn't just been cruel. She had been building a plan. She wanted me to stay useful, quiet, and blind until she was ready to take everything. She came back from Houston that night, expecting a normal homecoming. Instead, two police cars were outside our building. I won't lie, I felt something ugly and cold when she walked in and saw me standing there with Mia behind my leg. Her face went pale. For 1 second, she had no words at all. That silence felt better than any scream. You had our daughter spying on me? She asked, looking at the tablet like it had betrayed her. I looked right back at her and said, No, you did that yourself. The child welfare worker took Mia first. The officers kept Lauren in the living room. While they asked questions, she couldn't answer without lying. Her voice got smaller and smaller. Mine got steadier. The revenge part wasn't me yelling. It wasn't me throwing anything. It was me protecting that little girl while Lauren's whole version of the truth collapsed in front of strangers who could see it for what it was. By the end of the night, Mia was safe with my sister, and Lauren was facing an emergency hearing with those recordings in the file. The next morning, I sat alone in the apartment and looked at the little blue backpack on the chair. It hit me then that this wasn't just about marriage anymore. It was about a child who trusted me enough to hand over the truth. So tell me this, was I wrong to hand everything to the police, or was that the only real way to protect her?
So tell me, what would you do in my place? Did I do the right thing or would you have stayed silent? And mostly important, who do you think was really wrong here? Comment your thought below. I read every single one. Thank you.